Trap is repeating for Bitcoin once again. And I'm saying once again because I've seen this a few times before during this cycle. And the outcome is always exactly the same. We do see massive moves higher after this trap has basically been playing out. Because Bitcoin is actually looking quite good. And that is why I do think this double top trap is complete nonsense once again. If we are going to take a look into the most important Bitcoin charts this video, we can clearly see how bullish Bitcoin currently is looking, definitely on the bigger perspective. So that is what we will discuss in today's update video. We will discuss a lot more than only that, like all the most important Bitcoin charts. We'll take a deep dive into what's the latest news in the market and what is going to be important for today and for the markets. A big update on my Ethereum trading position here, and also a deep dive into what's Ethereum and altcoins themselves. So from there guys, make sure to first of all subscribe to the channel and watch like my latest YouTube videos, and then we can dive into the most important content. Since I've seen this Bitcoin trap over and over again. Every single time we create a local top this Bitcoin cycle, people start calling for this 2021 double top repeating. But that is simply not the case. Bitcoin is in a consolidation phase we've seen a few times before during this bull market. And on the bigger perspective, there are three super important indicators which clearly show that Bitcoin is going to be heading higher quite soon. First of all, we have the Nasdaq, so the US stock market, which is still making new all-time highs. And eventually Bitcoin is going to catch up in my opinion, because every single time the Nasdaq did start to outperform Bitcoin by a lot basically. Bitcoin did catch up later after that consolidation phase, and now we are also simply in somewhat of a consolidation phase once again, and eventually Bitcoin is going to catch up. The same can be said for Bitcoin versus gold. This is gold on the 200 daily lag. So basically we can see how big the potential still is for Bitcoin here, and every single time after the consolidation phase, Bitcoin tends to follow gold here. And of course we have the global liquidity, which we have been talking about a lot on the channel. Also the global liquidity is heading higher and has been heading higher in this massive move. We still have to be catching up on. So probably Bitcoin is going to be heading higher because of all these important indicators. We do know how accurate the global liquidity prediction with Bitcoin has been in like the past period here. So I do think exactly that is going to be happening once again, and this double top trap is going to be complete nonsense, because every single time after the consolidation phase we do tend to be moving higher, just like the global market is basically doing now. So have that massive CME gap still above us for Bitcoin, so eventually I'm still expecting that Bitcoin is going to fill this CME gap to the top side. I do think that's just going to be a matter of time, and then it's quite a big move towards that $117,000 level. So also quite a big opportunity there. And yes, my standpoint on Bitcoin is quite bullish, even though the seasonality is not looking that good for September. We do know about that now. I'm still open for the possibility of Bitcoin and Ethereum and crypto move, that if you truly look into the Bitcoin performance during September, we do see something similar happening, but this time is also totally different basically. In September 2017, we saw of course that massive crash lower. The same can be said for 2021, but what we did saw now, just before September, we saw a big move lower, and after September we saw actually, so once September started, we saw a little bounce to the top side, and we haven't seen that move to the downside yet, which has historically been starting like now, or did already start like at the 1st of September. So that is quite different, and also because we have seen quite a big correction here, I do ultimately think that we are not going to see such a deeper correction anymore. If it would be happening, then this bull market support band is going to be super important to be forecasting that, because now we are bouncing on the bull market support band, which is actually looking quite good. I do think this is super important support currently, and if we are going to break below it, grab liquidity under the bull market support band, then the moving average 50 is going to come in play. And if we are going to drop to those levels, yeah, then we are definitely going a bit lower, but then first of all we have to lose the bull market support band, and currently it's not looking like that yet. If it will thus to do so, maybe I will de-risk a little bit in the market, because then eventually we could see a move lower towards the moving average 50, and yeah, that is going to be a big move lower. But currently the market is actually looking quite bullish, so no indication for me that that is going to happen yet, but of course I'm well prepared if it would be happening. We also still have a lot of liquidity stacking up for Bitcoin at the top side, so also that is still looking amazing. We have this falling wedge in play for Bitcoin, which is also looking absolutely amazing. A textbook falling wedge basically, and this is a bullish bias pattern. So if this breakout is going to continue to the top side, it could once again be a massive breakout out of the consolidation phase, like we have seen so many times before during this bull market. After those big consolidation phases, maybe different patterns, but always the same outcome, a big breakout higher following global assets. So that is what I think is going to happen once again. Today we have some important data coming out, maybe even the most important data this month, because this is going to be super important for those forecasts of the rate cuts from the FOMC meeting on the 17th of September. Today we have the non-farm payrolls, so the job report, and the unemployment rate dropping. So that's going to be super important data. Basically, if you're going to see rising unemployment, that's going to be the most bullish thing for crypto stocks, because that's probably going to indicate that the Fed is going to cut rates to stimulate the labor market. If this is not going to be the case, the Fed could be delaying the rate cuts. So let's see about exactly that. We did saw some comments from Trump coming out today, basically this night that the labor numbers are fake, so maybe it's going to be indicating a very bad print. We just don't know yet, but it is going to be super important data, and that is why I will be live streaming this exact event on my YouTube channel later today. So make sure to come and watch if you're getting interested in exactly that update video. So make sure to join if you're getting interested in exactly that. And then I do want to discuss some Ethereum, because Ethereum is basically showing something quite similar. Ethereum is now did break out, is now retesting this downtrending line, just like we saw during this breakout earlier, where we saw that Fed Powell speech and that massive spike higher. Once again, today we have kind of a similar setup, and we also have super important macroeconomic data coming out. The only difference is that now the rate cut odds are very high once again, so I'm not expecting such a huge upside reaction from the market. I actually do think that the risk of a downside reaction is bigger because of the economic data, because basically the rate cut probabilities can only go down and not that much up anymore. So be aware of exactly that. But the breakout on the price technical side for Ethereum is actually looking quite good here, but most is going to be depending on the economic data today. Also, I do still think that Ethereum is going to be moving towards that bull case, this bull market. I did sell a lot Ethereum spot at that conservative case target myself, but I ultimately do think that that bull case is going to be imminent, this bull market in Q4, because that's where I think the most explosive price action is going to take place for Ethereum and also altcoins. Altcoins are now finding a bottom against that Ethereum price action, so that's actually looking quite good, because the last time we saw, first of all, Ethereum massively outperforming altcoins was in 2021, and when we did saw that turning point to the upside, we saw major outperformance for altcoins versus Bitcoin. So this is for altcoins versus Ethereum. So this is also a super important chart. Other altcoins are also showing some strength versus Bitcoin now with a golden cross, which is a lagging indicator, so it does not have to mean that we are going to just move much higher from here, but usually on a sort of a longer term, this is going to be a very bullish indicator to show that we are truly gaining momentum for altcoins against the Bitcoin price action, and that's of course positive for altcoin season. I do think we are still trading in the transitioning phase between phase 2 and phase 3, so at the moment Ethereum is going to start moving higher again, the wealth effect is going to kick in, and more money is going to rotate in towards large caps, and eventually later this year also to phase 4 altcoin season. I do still believe in exactly that until proven otherwise. Basically, the altcoin season index is now at 59. It is definitely not an altcoin season yet, but ultimately I do think this is going to be one of your last opportunities to be accumulating altcoins quite cheaply before that massive and last move higher in towards that altcoin season. So guys, that was it for today's update video. I hope you guys enjoyed today's update video, and I'll see you guys within the next update video tomorrow.
Are you looking for exchange with zero fees over 3,000 plus trading pair with industrial leading liquidity proof of reserve that has 1:1 ratio with 24/7 online customer service support? Scan the QR code to easy to direct MEXC website and start your first trading. Thank you.
Trading is never as easy. But who say you can't have fun? In every minute you lend, the more you will enjoy. As you grow up in this industry, you will find yourself, and so round yourself with people who will help you to grow up as trader. It's hard in the first place, but I am sure you will be successful. As a trader, always remember trend is your friend.